Flash isn't an absolutely terrible movie, but unfortunately it is weighed down by its main star, Ezra Miller. I feel that there is a lot of good things in The Flash. So like Michael Keaton, for example, was fantastic and it was great to see him again as Batman. But you can't help but think when you're watching this movie, I just don't like Ezra Miller. And that's mostly because of the controversy that happens in his real life. So trying to separate the art and the artist has become increasingly difficult in recent times. And this is one of the movies that's going to struggle to separate the art and the artist. So getting into the movie, at some point in either the Snyder Cut or Joss Whedon's Justice League, The Flash went back in time like a second to help change things. I can't remember which movie, it's been a long time, and I didn't think the movies were that great, so I've never re-watched them. But The Flash went back like 1 second to help change the events of the Justice League. So whilst everything seems to be falling apart around his world, other than his superhero powers, of course, because now he has new friends in like Batman and Superman and Wonder Woman. He has like personal life issues, like his dad's in prison, wrongfully in prison for the murder of his mother. And obviously his mother passed away when he was a child. So he realizes he can actually run back further than just a second, and he can go back in time and change the events of the past. So he can save his mother. I don't know what this time travel is in The Flash. Is it time travel or just dimensional changing? When the events change, this is how we get Michael Keaton, from Ben Affleck to Michael Keaton. He changes an event, but it changes the past as well. It doesn't just change future events, the entire past has changed. So that's why Michael Keaton is now Batman again. Or he always was, but I guess it was a different dimension. But changing this event led to Michael Keaton being Batman, and General Zod finding Superman's capsule in space. So killed him straight away, and now we have Supergirl. But how does saving his mother influence what happened with Superman when he was a child? None of this all makes any sense except if he just changed dimension. I don't understand the time travel or the multiverse of this. Isn't exactly very clear what the Flash did when he made the changes, which kind of just leaves it a little confusing. They try to explain it with spaghetti, but that doesn't actually explain anything. But anyway, ultimately, the Flash has to make a decision whether or not to try and save this universe, which seems inevitable to be destroyed, or put events back the way they were before he tried to meddle with them. And of course, there is only one outcome he can really choose. So if I was to start off with some of the good things about this movie, it is definitely Ben Affleck and Michael Keaton. And I couldn't help myself but think, why didn't they just make a Batman movie, a Ben Affleck Batman movie, where we crossed over with the other Bat people? Obviously, then it would have been too much like Spider-Man. We get this very cool set of cameos during nearer towards the end sequences, and it's mostly cameos from different Supermen, and you're like, but this is a Flash movie, where are all the alternative Flash? Like even in Doctor Strange, it was kind of all about Doctor Strange and the Doctor Stranges in different dimensions. That would have been a better movie if this was just a Batman film, because Ben Affleck is a great Batman. I was very skeptical before Batman vs Superman, a terrible film, but he was fantastic as Batman, and as well in the Justice League, and again here for a very short time he was in the movie. And it's just a little disappointing that this is, I believe, the end of his journey as Batman, because he's a really good Batman. But Michael Keaton steps in and is also fantastic, and I would love to have seen a full-length Michael Keaton Batman again. So we just get left a little disappointed of what could have been if they just made a different movie, not about the Flash. And if we're going into the bad stuff about the movie, CGI is terrible. The main star in Ezra Miller the film cannot escape his real life antics. So maybe that will put a lot of people off, and then when you see him actually playing the Flash as in a full set of film rather than just being a side character in the Justice League, you really start to notice he is very annoying. His younger versions, because you got the two versions of him, the slightly older one and the slightly younger one, is so annoying. It is unreal. I guess they were trying to say, look how annoying he is when he was younger, but he's not so bad a few years later. It's like, he has this laugh which just drove me insane every time he would laugh at something. So if you thought one Ezra Miller Flash was bad enough, trying to see two is just painstakingly terrible. And ultimately, I think that's where this film is going to fall down most. I don't know if the film is going to make money or if it's going to lose money, but my guess is before this film came out, I had zero interest in watching it just because of Ezra Miller. And now that I decided to go see it because I quite enjoy making videos and I wanted to talk about it, I can definitely say that he's annoying in this film. And I believe this is what's going to turn audiences away from the movie, which is a shame because there are some really good aspects of this film. Michael Keaton is very good in this movie, and unfortunately maybe he cannot save it, but if the film does do good, then it's most likely because of Keaton himself. This movie is going to struggle on more than just Ezra Miller. It's also the fact that everyone knows this is coming to an end in terms of James Gunn is rebooting everything, and this kind of feels a little bit pointless. If you want to enjoy like a one-off movie, that is fantastic, and we all want to enjoy one-off movies, but when it's like this is meant to be a part of a wider universe, you're like, well, why would I bother when the whole universe is going to be kickstarted again after 2 or 3 more films? Anyway, I think there's just like Blue Beetle and Aquaman 2. And then we go into James Gunn's set of movies, which seems just leaving Flash here to be just kind of pointlessly hanging around. There are moments in the film that I did genuinely find funny. It wasn't absolutely terrible in this sense. And also comparing it to other DC movies. Now this is a very low bar, but I'd say it's actually one of the better DC movies, but that's only because they've all been pretty low average to bad at best. I would say if you are a fan of previous DC films, you will probably enjoy this movie. It's not quite as good as, it's not as good as Wonder Woman, it's probably not as good as Aquaman. It's probably on par with Joss Whedon's Justice League. And it's definitely not a fantastic superhero movie. There's very other little I could compare it to. The only other thing I could maybe see it on par with is Umbrella Academy. If you enjoy Umbrella Academy and vice versa, if you enjoyed this film, maybe you'll like Umbrella Academy. So if you like DC films and you like Umbrella Academy, I think this film could be your movie. If you don't like any of those, then you're probably not going to enjoy this film either. So I'm just about to start Yakuza 5. So if you've made it this far in the video, I thank you very much, and I hope you have a fantastic day and an even better week. But for now, I'm done.